You think you're stuck on the same shit? You ain't seen progress for over a month? Well, my friend, you're in a plateau. No, plateau. So what the hell are they, and how the hell do you get out of them? This is Jaren from Paradigm Strength Systems. Let's begin. Plateaus can be simply defined as not getting the adaptations from the stimulus over a period of time. The temporal element here, of course, is important because you could have just had, a bad week. Maybe your mom told you could lose some weight because you've bulked for 3 years and you're getting fat, so you feel like ass. Your diet isn't optimized, you're slightly, more tired than usual, so your recovery and training isn't as good as it was. In order to identify that you are indeed in a plateau, there should be a constant effort to progress. It could be strength-wise, hypertrophy-wise, physique-wise, performance-wise, etc. But still seeing no result for roughly, give or take, around a month. You've optimized your diet, your sleep, and your supplementation, but still same old Stevie. And don't kid yourself here, because a lot of beginners and beginner intermediate athletes say that they're stuck in a plateau, but have actually just blasted through their newbie gains with shit sleep and diet and are now expecting the same rate of progress. I'm sure you know this already, but the sad truth is the more trained you are, the less progress you will see. So you have to dial in and optimize more aspects of your training, your recovery, and lifestyle to achieve those extra gains. So you might be not actually be in a plateau, you just haven't got the 3 pillars of training down. Exercise, sleep, and nutrition. So you think you've got these down, why the hell are you still plateauing? One way it can manifest is from overtraining. Too much volume, too high of an intensity, and you're consistently not allowing your body to catch up to properly recover from the stimulus and to make the adaptations. Think about the SAID principle, or for all you people who read about Orientalism, SAID principle, specific adaptations to impose demands. Here's the graph. So you see, you apply some stress on the body, your performance level goes down over time, and then stays there for a bit before recovering. Your ability to perform goes back up, but this time your body adapts. It becomes a little bit stronger. So when you apply the same stress, the same stimulus, your body is better at coping with it. The lift becomes easier, and voila, you've progressed. That's why you need progressive overload in order to improve. That's the basic training principle, basic training philosophy, right? But if the stress is applied too much, too frequent, recovery will be so much slower, if it even happens, that is. If you overtrain, your performance over time can even fall. You have significant DOMs, you've built up too much systemic fatigue, your lifts are getting weaker despite the effort increasing. These are the symptoms of overtraining. Overtraining, if sustained over time, will lead to plateaus. That's why, again, the temporal element is important. If you go too hard in a single session, say you felt particularly motivated and decide to throw in a few extra drop sets at the end of your working sets to push past failure, you're deviating from the program if you have one. And why the hell are you doing that? B, you'll get DOMs, but that does not particularly mean you will plateau. If your chest is sore because of the session on Wednesday, your program will most likely skip your chest on Thursday. This gives time for that muscle group to recover, so you're not in a plateau. But if you overtrain consistently, you won't have fresh muscles at all when it becomes time to train them again because your body is, still busy recovering. So optimizing your training doesn't mean going balls to the wall all the time. That's why training is an art. You must walk that fine line of getting enough stimulus, but not going over your body's threshold to recover in time for the next session, granted that your programming is on point. That's why we preach for beginners to truly know their actual limit So that could be actually going balls to the wall, huh? But not for a sustained period of time. That's what it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Another type of plateau is not on the physiological side, but on the psychological one. These are more common with strength athletes who tend to fixate on the numbers. So here's a story. My brother, who's competing in a powerlifting competition at the time, was stuck on a 140 kilo bench. I know, what a bitch. You know, he was able to do 137.5 for 5 reps. So, you know, should 140 should be in the bag. You know, somehow, once those extra baby 1.25s were added on, he couldn't fully extend his arms. That was the case of what I call sticky failed 1 rep maxes, because you've failed the lift before and are so fixated on hitting that 1 rep max, you psych yourself out of it. And when you return to that same weight, something about, I guess, the frustration which I thought would actually help in a lift may actually be the limiting factor holding the lifter back from completing that lift. Now, for the case of Josh, he is slightly neurotic. You know, he's very meticulous when it comes to programming for himself. So when something fails and he can't perform the way he's expected to, he needs, you know, there's a mental aspect that you need to tweak it somehow. You need to try something else, and that maybe, you know, also fucks up his progress because there's too much variation and not enough specification, which is very much needed in strength performance sports like powerlifting. Now you tell me it could just be that, you know, he ain't strong enough to do 140, but, you know, had the muscle endurance to do 137.5. But that wasn't it either, because he was able to hit 150, but a few days after wasn't able to hit the 140. That's why it's a sticky failed 1 rep max, because the failed 1 rep max from the past sticks to you in your mind and becomes, you know, some self-reinforcing type of thing. The key is to chill the fuck out, brother. You can't overcome it mentally. Just chill out. Chill out. Life ain't all about that lift, bruh. So relax, you know. Don't be so forehead blood vessel bursting type shit about it. You're gonna make it someday. I know it. I trust. Trust me. From a kid who's, you know, who had gone through this shit. Bam, I'll show you a picture of what I looked like in the past. And that was me. So, and look at me now. Damn, son. Still a failure. But are there other reasons? I'm sure there are, but I'm pretty sure you clicked on this video not to hear me yap about how to get to a plateau, and instead of how to get the fuck out of one. So, for you beginners out there, utilize proper periodization. You know, block style. Very much unlike the angel of the fitness industry right now, Sam Sulek, who tends to go for a more freestyle approach to his training. This structured periodization approach, you know, means having a micro, meso, and macro cycles. I'll get into the specifics of what this means in a later video. Alternatively, I'm sure there are other videos out there explaining it already. But it gives you something to stick to in the short term, while also adding variation when you finish a meso if you need it. So there is enough specificity, and it's a way more structured approach to programming. If you're beginner to beginner intermediate, you can get away with having, you know, reactive deload, since you'll barely need any deload. By the way, a deload is a period of easy lifting where you focus on technique, so your body has time to recover. Beginners, if you feel like you're plateauing, I recommend pushing just for 1 more week instead of programming a deload the next week when you feel that you are plateauing. Again, you could have just had a shit week and not be conscious of it. I know how you are, you know, ignoring issues, but deep down, you're still stuffing your face with too much processed, high sodium foods, hoping that one day you'd be noticed by someone, just anyone, and they'll say, dang, you're big, but then you won't even be happy about it because you've internalized fat phobia, and you have this double consciousness of people seeing you as a fatty, and so you interpret that your big comment as them calling you fat, so you just go back to feeling like shit and ignoring your feelings and hitting the gym. It's a vicious cycle, I know. I am there. It's alright. So beginners, be honest with yourself. Don't deload unless it's absolutely necessary. Unless you're seeing a regression in your lifts with a progression in your effort, you shouldn't deload. Now, intermediate to advanced lifters, you should know this. You need to program in your deloads beforehand. Be proactive about it. You don't want to ever get to that stage where you're thinking, fuck, do I need a deload? Because that isn't an optimized program. You're past the stage to be reactive. Your training should be hard so that when the deloads come, you know that it was deserved. Another way to push past plateaus is through training variation. Perhaps you notice, there's a sticking point at the end of your reps during a bench. Most likely, that's due to tricep weakness. That final lockout bit. So you reduce your bench tonnage, basically, either by reducing weight or reps or sets, and then you add an additional tricep work, perhaps. Maybe a heavy seated dip to address your weak point, because you're only as strong as your weakest link in the chain. If that chain link breaks, that chain is broken, my friend. Another example could be, you're stuck on pull-ups. You can't get an extra rep. Do lat pull-downs. Do more volume first. Get used to that movement. Maybe if you're stuck on pronated grip, lat pull down, try neutral grip. Try closer grip variation. Changing the variation allows you to progress in other ways. But remember, it's not always linear. Another is looking towards supplementation. I know a lot of people say, well, it's only fucking supplements, but that shit helps. It could just be that, you need some extra, like potassium, because you ain't getting any in your diet, to help you because you've been cramping up all the time. Well, you just stretch, but, popping a multivitamin or eating a banana will help. Magnesium and zinc also helps you sleep better and also better test, bruh, for the zinc element. So don't overlook supplements. The vast majority of them, yes, you won't need, but they can give you that marginally elevated level of performance and recovery. We covered some pretty controversial supplements in our first podcast episode, so be sure to check that out. Link in the what the fuck do you call it? Description. So apart from the basics, multivitamins, omega-3, protein powder, creatine. Oh yeah, by the way, creatine stores deplete rapidly during your workout, so take that shit half an hour before your workout on top of your daily 5Gs, and see how that plays out. You'll thank me. I know. You're welcome. And caffeine. Apart from those, you don't really need extra shit. Probably a probiotic unless you got a proper micronutrient deficiency where you gotta ingest 4,000 IUs of something. You're good. Lastly, mental training. This one's simple. I'll take care of that right now. Look me in the eyes. Look right now. Yeah, you looking? Alright. Don't be a bitch. But also, chill the fuck out. I'm out, boys.